Hello friends, welcome back. In this session, we are going to discuss one of the most happening topics, ethics in AI. Is it important to me? Yes, it is important to everybody. The one who is building, the one who is learning, the one who is using. Everybody should learn the ethics in AI, and this session is going to give you insights on the ethics in AI. Yes, we are going to get deeper into it. If you have any questions, suggestions, inputs, please go ahead and type it in the chat section. I'll be able to definitely answer it and I welcome a discussion as well. We can get into the session and let's understand what is ethics in AI first. We need to understand the definition. It is simple. It refers to the moral principles and guidelines. That's all. Whenever you are building a solution, there have to be definitely some moral principles and guidelines that you need to follow. And it is no different in artificial intelligence systems. You need to use the principles and guidelines which are going to define ethics in AI during the development, deployment, and during the use of artificial intelligence systems. AI has continuously been evolving. It has been evolving at a rapid pace and it has started playing a real prominent role in everyone's life. It has started becoming a part of the society. So ethical considerations can not be further ignored and you will have to be really ethical when you are building an AI solution, when you are using an AI solution, even when you are learning. So ethical considerations have become a very critical component of AI development and application. That's what this session is going to give you insights about, and we'll have key factors that are governing the AI ethics discussed in this session. First one is fairness and bias. The AI systems can inherit biases from the data they are trained on. I am going to build a system. I am going to build the system with the data I have in hand. I am going to train the system with the data I have in hand. So the data is going to govern everything. When you are building an AI system, if the data is too much biased for one particular side, then the system will tend to become biased, and that is not a right thing. Ensuring fairness in AI means that you need to avoid discrimination and bias against groups. I cannot train my system by having bias clearly fed in through the data and training it further with that. Then the system will become biased as well. It involves addressing issues related to the data bias and designing algorithms that treat all individuals fairly. Everyone is the same. Fair and square approach is required. You cannot discriminate any group, anybody, any individual, anything. So when you are building a system, fairness and bias is the first thing that you need to consider. Transparency and explainability. AI systems often operate as a black box. The end user will not know much about it. It is actually very challenging for us to understand how the decision making goes in. The process of the system's understanding and arriving at a decision is still a very secret thing. Many of us do not understand. So transparency is one thing that we have to be careful about. And ethical AI really calls for the transparency and explainability, which allows the users to understand how and why the AI systems make certain decisions. I am arriving at a decision through my system. I need to be transparent. I need to be explainable enough to make the user understand how that particular result has been arrived at. That is a very important point. The next concern or next key point that we need to follow and to really worry about is the privacy. AI systems collect a lot of data. Undoubtedly, they have a lot of data. The data is past data and it could be as well personal data. You must respect the individual's privacy, and data protection is a fundamental ethical concern now with the users. Everyone is thinking about data privacy. Everyone is thinking about their privacy and protection. The data mishandling is happening all over, and your system, whichever you are building, should not be a victim for it. You should ensure that the privacy is protected. AI developers must implement robust data handling practices and comply with relevant data protection guidelines. This is very, very important. The main reason people cite for not using AI, one side, lack of knowledge, which people are growing, and certainly it will develop over a period of time. Costing factors are there, that's another major factor. But about 13% of the overall people still have strong apprehension about the concerns over the data privacy and security, which is a major issue. And 84% of the respondents in a survey indicated very clearly that they care about privacy care for their own data, care about the data of other members of the society, and they want more control over how their data is being used. So everyone now is thinking in the perspective of the data protection and privacy. Your system should not break that privacy guidelines. Your system should ensure the data of the users, the customers, should be properly handled. This is a major key indicator. Accountability is another factor. Determining who is responsible when AI systems make decisions or take action is a very complex ethical issue. The AI systems are analyzing data, analyzing input, arriving at a solution, arriving at a decision, but who is responsible when they make a decision? This is a very complex question. Clear lines of accountability are really necessary to address potential harms that could be caused by AI systems. Potential harms it could cause. So who is going to be accountable for it? We need to be really careful about that point. Safety. Ensuring the safety of AI systems is really very critical, especially like autonomous vehicles, healthcare, all these systems, right? We are completely believing the system and we are getting into the vehicle. So the safety is paramount there. Ethical AI development really requires rigorous and complete testing. It has to be complete. No compromise should be there. Risk assessment has to be there. Safety measures to prevent accidents and to avoid the harms that are going to be created to the user should all be properly looked into. Safety is paramount. Safety is highly paramount, and we should not forget that. There are more concerns which are connected to all these points that we have been discussing. Bias mitigation. The developers must actively engage and work to identify and mitigate biases in the algorithms, and most importantly datasets, because the outcome will not be proper. Second, beneficence. AI should be developed and it must be utilized in ways that it should benefit us, the society, the humanity. Ethical AI should prioritize this attitude and this perspective. It has to definitely prioritize the positive impacts and it should not cause harm at all. Long-term consequences is another aspect that we developers should think about. AI systems may have far-reaching consequences. It could be intended as well as unintended. Ethical considerations should extend beyond immediate outcomes and it should really think about the future. It should account for long-term effects. I create something, it is okay for today, but it will cause damages tomorrow, then it is not right. Public engagement is next thing. In some cases, decisions about AI should involve public input and consensus. It is all very important to draw the line of consensus to ensure democratic values, and most importantly, diverse perspectives must be considered. Only when you ask people, only when you involve people, only when you get consensus, this can happen. Now, the regulation and governance. Ethical AI requires legal and regulatory frameworks. Not much are there. I think it is growing and it will definitely grow better. This will ensure compliance with ethical standards. Many countries are already working on this particular line, and I'm sure over a period of time, we will definitely get more of regulation and governance related content for AI applications. Continuous monitoring and adaptation is also very important. The AI application that you are developing definitely are not static. They evolve, they learn, they grow. It is important to continuously assess and adapt the ethical standards to keep pace with developments. I am building a system today, it learns, it evolves. The system was built with ethical considerations, but over a period of time, since it has learned a lot of stuff, will it still be ethical for the system to work? Does it have to be trained again? We need to look into these kind of aspects as well, and it has to be a continuous monitoring. It cannot be like I built a system, when I built it right, now I'm not responsible. You cannot wash off your hands like that, right? Is it only machines or humans? Who has to be responsible? Is it machines or is it humans? Ethics in AI is a multifaceted and it is highly evolving. There are some additional key points that we must definitely understand, and many of these key points that I'm going to convey now are a real good problem statements for you to pursue your research as well further. Algorithmic accountability. Ethical AI demands that developers take responsibility for the actions and the decisions of their algorithms. This is mainly connected to the identification and rectification of the biases and errors. This is very important aspect. Human AI collaboration. Ethical AI involves designing systems that enhance the human capabilities rather than replacing humans. Many of us ask this question, will I be replaced? No, it is going to really enhance, it is going to be supportive. That's the way we need to build the system. Ensuring a harmonious collaboration, ensuring a safe collaboration between AI and human is really essential. And benefit distribution is something very important aspect of it. Considerations about how the benefits and risks of AI are distributed in the society. This is very, very crucial. Ethical AI should aim towards preventing the concentration of the power and benefits in the hands only for a few. When you build a system, the system is equal for everybody. The system should benefit everybody. The system should be the same. The system has to provide results in the same way to every user. So it cannot be dishonest to some users and it cannot be supportive to some users. Right. Cultural and contextual sensitivity. Ethical AI should be culturally sensitive as well, and it should be able to understand the context. What is considered ethical in one region of the country may not be ethical in another region of the country. What is considered as acceptable in one part of the world may not be accepted as acceptable in another part of the world. So this is really complex and this has to be looked into. Education and awareness. Promoting AI literacy is something very, very important, and we need to raise awareness about the ethical AI building, and that's very important. This includes educating not only the developers but also the users and the general public about AI ethics. AI for social good has to be encouraged. Now many competitions are coming. Many people are conducting hackathons even in these areas. So encouraging the use of AI for solving some of the very complex societal challenges could be in the healthcare, could be in the education, conservation, and this would be really helping us. We can develop systems that's going to benefit the society. And whistleblowing and reporting. Ethical AI frameworks should provide mechanisms for individuals to report any unethical AI practices or decisions. This is very, very important. When we have a problem, when we identify that there is something unethical going on because of an AI system, there should be a method to report, and whomever reports should be safe as well. So that's a very important point. Ethical AI research. The researchers should adhere to ethical standards in their work. The data collection, experimentation, publication practices, all these are connected here very strongly. Collaboration. Ethical AI is not one country's or one region's problem. It's a global concern. Collaborative efforts among countries and the international organizations are to be established, and that will get us better results. Ethics review boards. Academia and industry should have ethics review boards that should play a major role in assessing and ensuring the nature of the AI research and the projects that are being built. So they should validate that this project is good to go and this project has got some concerns which has to be fixed before it goes into the field. So the review boards will play a major role. Ethical challenges in autonomous AI is another area. We are having a lot of high degree of autonomy for some systems which include weapons, which include vehicles, which include healthcare. And we need to be really careful there. The consideration about the ethical challenges for these autonomous systems should be carefully analyzed. And this is a definite area of concern. Ethical considerations in AI education. Ethical AI should be integrated into the education right from the beginning. So when you inculcate this will not become a problem and this will become a practice. All the AI professionals, students must be given with these insights and they should be grown with an idea that when they develop AI solutions, it has to be ethical. AI regulation and certification. The governments and the industry bodies may establish really regulation and certification process which can ensure ethical AI solutions building. So this will come in near future. Some companies, some countries, some governments are already working on this. I think this will become globally more standardized very soon. Auditing, periodic auditing and assessment of the AI systems for ethical compliance definitely is required and that will rectify most of the issues. To summarize, ethical AI is not just one person's issue, one region's issue, one country's issue. It's a global concern. It is growing. It is very dynamic. Many organizations, researchers, individuals are coming together to build this up. It is important to recognize that there may be different perspectives on what constitutes ethical AI, but we will find a common ground. That's how it is going to be. The goal is to harness the benefits of AI while upholding human values and ethical principles. I hope the session was useful. In case you have questions, go ahead and ask it in the chat box. I'll be really very happy to answer. Thank you.